Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Easy Project webinar. My name is Lukas Hubka. I'm a business developer here at Easy Software. I've got a colleague with me, Jan Řeřicha, with the product. Hello, Honza, how are you?
Hello, Lukas, I'm good, thanks.
Well, audio still works, which is perfect. I don't want to take too much off of your time because I know we all have very busy schedules, so let's get to it. This webinar is designed to introduce every single attendee here to the version 11 plus, which is the autumn or fall edition of Easy Project. At this point, we have completed a few features and we feel very comfortable about releasing them, and that's what we want to present on this webinar specifically. There will be a recording available. Every attendee of this webinar will receive an email with the recording. I believe it's going to happen tomorrow. So in case you would like to share this with anyone within your organization, you are more than welcome to do so. A few information from my side first. Some of you might not have noticed it, but we have actually released a big upgrade of our Easy Project application back in spring of this year. It was the version 11. And if you've been around Easy Project to some degree, but you haven't noticed this change, it's probably a good idea to go to easyproject.com and into the search field, just type in release notes 11, and you will find a lot of useful information about the new version. You can do the same thing about the version 11 plus. I think you will find a lot of the information that we're going to be talking about here. One of the major releases that came with the 11 plus is our new extension B2B CRM. I'm talking about this because this extension is a huge one for us. We have basically taken this whole CRM platform and made sure that Easy Project can become a centralized tool for more departments than just the project management office and the support. Now we can completely integrate the sales teams as well. And from our point of view, we also need to have a little more time to explain it. So on this webinar, my colleague Jan will demonstrate some of the basic features of the B2B CRM, but you can expect that we will be hosting a specific webinar simply designed on the B2B CRM explanations and trainings in the very near future. From my point of view, my biggest suggestion here would be go to easyproject.com and start trials. Just feel around the application, see how that works. That's basically the best thing you can do if you're interested in implementing Easy Project. Once you set up a trial account, there will be an account manager assigned to you as well, which means you will then have a dedicated person within Easy Software that can help you with all your questions and maybe do a little bit of customizations or settings with you of the application itself, making the onboarding or first impressions of Easy Project even better. Now, when I'm talking about this specific webinar, the next part will be my colleague Jan presenting these changes. And after that, we would like to take questions from you. For this, please utilize the Q&A functionality in this webinar tool or webinar software. If you just hover over the application that opened up, there should be a button on the bottom titled Q&A. Please use that one because it's very important for us. It makes it much easier. And if you type questions into the regular chat, we might miss those. That's why the Q&A section is very important. At this point, we are 5 minutes in, and like I said, we don't want to make it too long. So Honza, can you take over and start going through the release notes?
Yes, of course. Thanks,
Go ahead.
Lukas.
Sure thing.
Please just confirm that you see my screen.
I can see. Say hello to the new Easy Project 11.
Perfect, because it's the section on the web where you can see the full release notes. And as Lukas said, if you would search on the web, you would definitely find this article. And this article will basically be the agenda for our today's meeting. And the first topic, first new feature of version 11 plus is the mind maps. Let me show you how the mind maps look. I've just started a new trial just before this webinar. So this is exactly what you would see if you create the application for your own. So the mind map, as you see, the mind map is one of the project modules. So right now I'm in the context of sample project, and I've opened the mind map that is called release process mind map. And let me show you some of the features that we have in the mind map. You can see the formatting tools over here, through which you can change color of the nodes that create the mind map. You can change size of the text, and there is obviously features that you would expect from the mind map, like creating nodes using the keyboard shortcuts. So right now I'm creating new nodes using Enter or Tab keyboard shortcuts. Except from the formatting, we have basically 3 integrations into the rest of the Easy project. So if I click on any node, I can edit attachments, and I can either add a link, which is basically any URL that maybe go or redirect you to some documentation. There can be a description for each node, which is just a simple text comment, or there can be a link to already existing task in the application, or you can obviously create a link to a new one. You can see over here how these links or attachments look like. If you click on them, you will basically see either description or some link to Facebook, for example, or a link to existing task that will show up in the modal view. We have a few arrangements with mind map on the right or left, or in a star like this one. We have a full screen view. If you lose yourself on the mind map, you can always navigate to the center. Zooming icons, we are able to export the mind maps through here. These are the supported formats, basically, let's say picture formats. Right now we are not supporting, for example, the mind map MM format that is typical for the mind map, but that's something we are considering for the future. There are a lot of keyboard shortcuts, and the list of those keyboard shortcuts is under this icon. So we tried to follow the best practice regarding the mind maps. As I said, mind map is a project module, but you can also get a global view on all the mind maps that are available to you as a user of the Easy project. So in the More menu, in the top right corner, you see mind maps. And over there, you get the list of all the mind maps that are available to you from all the projects. There is just one permission to the mind maps. So as you have the permissions for the mind maps, you would be able to see all the mind maps in the project and make any changes to the nodes. Why we decided to come up with Mind Maps plugin. We believe that Mind Maps are a very helpful tool for all the projects manager. Basically, a lot of responsibility of a project manager can be handled in the mind maps, such as risk management, stakeholders, stuff like that, a lot of things, because mind maps are super flexible. But we believe that the primary use for the mind maps is at the initial stage of the project, where things are not clear yet, and typically project manager needs to organize his or her thoughts. And that's where the mind maps are useful the most. As you know, we have the WBS module, which is kind of similar to the mind maps. The biggest difference is that the WBS creates the task. So as you see, sample task 1, sample task 3, these are the tasks. You can log, spend time on those tasks. You can write comments. You can reassign the task to somebody else. But that's when you really know what you want to do, and the tasks are good for that. On the other hand, mind maps are just a tool to organize your thoughts, and you cannot really spend time on the mind map node. To make the transition as seamless as possible, there is the possibility to link existing tasks to the mind map node, which I presented at the beginning. So there was one use case. The other use case is using this checkbox toggle, which can be very handy for tracking some kind of process. So in this example, we have a release process mind map. So these are basically things that need to be done for the release. And if I activate the checkboxes, I can track which parts of the process were done and which were not. Simple manual checkboxes, no automation or connection to other parts of the application. Okay, that was for the mind maps, the first new feature of version 11 plus. And let's move on to the second big feature. It's not a feature, it's a plugin actually, so B2B CRM. I will close these windows and talk about B2B CRM. I think that it's essential to understand what entities play a role in the B2B CRM. So you can basically see those entities over here. I'm just on the CRM dashboard. So from More menu, I went to B2B CRM, and I ended up here on this page. These are customizable reports, but I will just give you a simple overview of the entities that create B2B CRM altogether. And the first one is leads. Lead is basically a start of some business discussion. If I open the data for the leads, just to show you a structure a little bit, you can see there's a lot of data related to this lead. We have some information about where it came from, what's the company, what is the email, what's the history. We can write the comments to the lead and stuff like that. And lead can be qualified or disqualified. If the lead is qualified, it becomes the opportunity. If you had a chance to come across our CRM 1.0, you remember the entity CRM case, and the CRM case was replaced by entity called opportunity that is in the B2B CRM. So opportunities, it's where I specify the price, where I specify the expected contract date. That's probably the main entity that creates the forecast for our sales funnel. So you see opportunities that are being discovered, quoted, negotiated, that were already sold and paid. We'll just open one of those opportunities quickly. You can see all those fields that I talked about: contract date, price, and stuff like that. It's important to mention that all the opportunities are related to some kind of account, so company account. So this, for example, would be a profile page of the company where I would be able to find all the people that are related to the company, which translate to the entity called personal contacts, and all the opportunities that were created within this account. Let me go back to the B2B main page. B2B CRM over here. So I've already mentioned that accounts are basically company pages, and there are some people working for those companies. So these are personal contacts. And as we are doing B2B CRM, we were also thinking about partners sales. There is entity partners for indirect sales. So then you can have a link between account as a company and our partner companies through whom the sales went through. At the end of the sales process, there is the contract, and I have one contract over here. Contract is basically a point of truth which says what should we deliver to our customer. So on this example of a software contract, I know that this is for Walmart. I know that it was sold through a partner company. I know what's the product that we should deliver, what's the brand, what's the price. And I can see the items that were on the quotation. And also I see that this was sold as, let's say, the acquisition, the first sale, that was this one. But then later on, there were some updates, meaning upsell of services. So the final contract consists of the purchases that are coming through from these two opportunities. I forgot to mention that when a lead is created, it can be linked to some campaign. So campaign could be, for example, a conference, or it can be some marketing activity on social media. So that's basically the source of the lead, where it came from. So hopefully this gave you a high-level overview of B2B CRM. And as Lukáš said at the beginning, if you are interested more, definitely let us know, and one of our sales consultant will be more than happy to show you details of the B2B CRM. Okay, moving on to the next feature, which is help desk users. And before we jump into them, let me explain briefly that in previous version of our help desk, the main way to create a ticket in the help desk was through the email. So email was sent to some kind of mailbox. EasyProject was connected to that mailbox and was regularly checking incoming emails. And based on that email, it was creating tasks in EasyProject. This still works well, but it has a disadvantage that I cannot really log into any portal to see what tickets did I created in the past, and maybe see some history or create new tickets through that portal, not through the email. And this portal functionality is what is basically brought by the help desk users. So help desk users, you can find them in the more menu, in the help desk, where there is a section for help desk users. And just before the demo, I've created this John user. And right now I will just switch browsers to log in as this John to show you how the help desk user portal could look like. And we have it here. It's a very simple page with two modules, module to create a new ticket, module to view the tickets that I created earlier, and last module that is available for this help desk user is a notice board, where you can have some instructions for your customers. So let's try to create a new ticket, ticket 2, I have some problem. I can submit it. I can see the detail. If there is some history of the communication, I would see it here in the comments. If I log in to this helpdesk portal, you see I have reported 2 tickets. They are all in status new. And let's see what it looks like from the perspective of helpdesk operator. There are basically no changes. This is the ticket that I created earlier. You can see that the helpdesk operator sees the SLA. They can change the status, change the assignee, write comments. Some of those comments might be visible to the customer as well. So basically no changes on this side, but what's new is the portal functionality. So I can log in as the helpdesk user. Important thing is that these helpdesk users are not counted into the licenses. So you don't have to, let's say, pay for the licenses for these helpdesk users. On the other hand, they have very limited functionality, and it's limited only to creating new tasks and viewing the tasks that were reported by the helpdesk user, and basically logging into the portal. Okay, that was for the helpdesk users, and we are moving on to the search. Search is a feature that is handy for everybody, and we basically replace the technology that was previously used for the search, and the new technology is called Xapien. So the search is much faster. It searches through different entities. Let me give a different example. So you can see that if I type in project, it can find for me real projects, or it can find some tasks, risks, depending on what entity I was searching for. And to set that up, there is a little configuration, so you can open it over here. You can set up in which entities it should search, by what conditions it should search, and so on and so on. There is also this info page, which helps you to use some operators that might specify what exactly you were looking for. So new search, much faster than the previous one. And last but not least, we have a new theme. It's called High Contrast Theme. It's meant for the people with visual disabilities. I will just quickly change the setting in the administration and show you what it looks like. You can obviously try it on your own. Let's do it one more time. High contrast, save. You can obviously try it on your own in the trial that you can set up anytime. So let's wait for the page to reload, and this is what it looks like. So Lukáš, I think that we covered all the new features. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing specific. I think we can get to questions, because those questions are, I would say, more targeted towards me, because they are on the commercial side, which is, which makes me think that I'm going to be speaking a little bit more now. So both questions from Mr. Kuhn. Let's start with the first one. Does John, which is the guy that was in the helpdesk users, does he need an extra user license, or is there a limited count on the helpdesk user? So this one should be simple enough. Honza, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm concerned, these helpdesk users should be free of charge, right? These are unlimited in the Easy Project application.
Yes, they are unlimited. They are free of charge. on the other hand, they have very limited functionality. So for some cases, yeah, there is some border between a regular user, which is paid license, which can do basically anything in the application, and help desk user with very limited features, but for free.
It's a new feature overall, something that we haven't had in the past. I cannot really promise anything in terms of further development, but we definitely welcome any feedback in this regard. So anyone that wants to try and test help desk users, we will be very happy for your thoughts and your experience. Another question is it possible to create invoices out of the leads in B2B CRM? So in terms of the CRM, there is a certain structure that needs to happen, whereas when you have leads, you generally upgrade them into opportunities, and then you invoice those opportunities. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a part of the CRM system, but at the same time, we definitely understand and we are very, very well aware of the fact that every CRM system needs to invoice at some point, because that's what sales is about. If I'm correct, we target this, or we sort of think about this more as integrations required, because our software is not an invoicing software. We actually used to have that back in like 2016, 2017. We did have our own invoicing module, but at some point it became pretty much impossible for us to manage, because as you can imagine, there are certain legislatives and each country has completely different parameters or requirements for invoicing. And our clients are literally from all across the world. So at that point, we would have to keep making sure the invoicing works for everyone. And it took a lot of resources that we could have spent on improving what we're good at, right? The resource management, the help desk, CRM parts where we are strong. So because of that, we decided to cut off the invoicing and instead build up integrations and prepare the CRM system for any invoicing tool that you might already be using to be connected with Easy Project. That's our point of view. And then we have two questions from Claude. So let's read the first one. I think it's also targeted towards help desk. Do you have a possibility to display the tickets or issues in a structured way? We've been talking about this functionality for some time ago, as we are looking to replace our actual system.
And there is a follow-up question on that. We are looking to represent a PBS, meaning product breakdown structure. So let me explain that. As the ticket is created, either based on email or created by a request from help desk user, it became a task. So the main entity in Easy Project, the task, and we are able to organize those tasks. So you can have subtasks, you can have parent tasks, and also you can visualize those relationships in WBS. So WBS basically shows you the parent task, its subtasks, its subtasks, and so on. When the helpdesk ticket is created, it doesn't have, or it doesn't bear any information about where it belongs in the structure. So I can imagine that one of your helpdesk operators would take the newly created ticket and place it somewhere in the structure, meaning in the PBS product breakdown structure. They could do it manually by just assigning a parent task, or they could do it visually in the WBS.
All right, fair enough. Once again, this sort of leads me back to trial accounts and sales consultants, right? By far the easiest thing to do is set up a trial account, talk to one of our sales consultants, describe the use case that you have and that you want to address through Easy Project. And then this specific account manager can either bring someone more technical on board from our side of the company to help and try to see how that would play out in the system, or you can try it out on your own if you feel like you've got the skill set required to do so. But by all means, trial accounts have always been the most important tool in terms of testing it out. There is a month free And even though it's not a super official information, if you would need longer than 1 month, feel free to consult that with your account manager. There are things that we can do. In our case, we understand that some of these projects are not sprints. They are not they are more so could be marathons, to be honest, because there's a lot of people on both sides that need to align their expectations and requirements. So yeah, once again, trial accounts by far the easiest thing I can recommend.
Lukáš, sorry to interrupt you, but
Go ahead.
Claude is specifying his request more and more, which is good. I understand you talk about product management, and basically my answer would be similar. So you can create the structure of your product in the WBS, and also combination of using WBS for the hierarchical structure together with trackers or task types where you might specify certain levels of your product might work together. Depends on your specific requirement. I suggest you talk about it to one of our account managers. It sounds like something that could be implemented, but depends on what exactly you are looking for.
To me, one of these requirements are exactly the reason why we decided to build our software on the platform that we built it, because we always felt like there's a ton of softwares and issue tracking tools on the internet, and they all have a ceiling where if you need to put your workflow into a software, at some point you would have to accommodate to the potential or possibilities of the application. With Easy Project, we are trying to approach it from the other way. We are trying to make sure that the application can actually fit your company. And that's why we always need to consult these, let's say face-to-face or a little more personally, because yeah, if you want to build a software that lasts and that can stick with you for years and years into the future, that's generally the ideal scenario. And with this, I believe the questions are done. If I'm not mistaken, this was actually one of the last webinars in the run of new versions, which means a lot of these questions have already been answered. Once again, the recording will be available, I believe, shortly after the webinar is over, either for the rest of the day or maybe at some point during tomorrow. And yeah, I've already mentioned trials. I've already mentioned the recording. We've done the questions. I don't think there's anything else I need to do. We are around 35 minutes into the webinar, which is the just correct time that I feel like is understandable or chewable. Honza, is there anything you want to add before we close this out?
No, wish you everyone good luck, and hope to see you in other webinars.
Looking forward to talking to some of you soon as well. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.